Hello everyone and welcome back to the Stamp Box. This is my second unboxing video. I purchased these last weekend at the club, but I haven't had a chance to go through them yet, so quite looking forward to that. Almost full, this box. First one off the rank, a fairly typical album. Just flicking through there, Australian, all modern, fairly typical of these ones, but I did spot some interesting Chinese ones there, which I'm always keen on. They're Sun Yat-sen, so that's back to the about 20s or 30s. Some of the others, the communist era with Mao Zedong. What else we got in here? I'll just flick through. Egypt, France, fairly typical of most of these albums. What have we got here? Germany, predominantly East German, and some of the old Hindenburg ones with the, was it Chancellor? Hong Kong, mixture of Britain and Ireland. Not sure why they put that in there, but shows that it's the Irish Republic. So what's that, 1940s onwards. Public na Éireann, Republic of Ireland in Irish. So I don't think I've got that one, so I'm happy to come across that. Hungary, what it was, India. This is all largely modern and mostly definitives. Japan, yeah, not complaining. Oh, some very nice New Zealand ones. I'm sure I mentioned in the previous video, New Zealand Christmas stamps are typically religious paintings, so there's some nice ones there, and typically quite large stamps, the New Zealand Christmas. Yeah, nothing extraordinary in there. I'm happy to see those Chinese ones, so I'll start sorting them out. Let's grab a fistful here and see what else we've got. The New Zealand involvement in, it's very hard to read that. Oh, Antarctica. New Zealand involvement in Antarctica. It's like a presentation pack. Antarctic Research New Zealand. It's modern, decimal, and a lot of diagrams about the bases there. Some other details to go through. So yeah, that's interesting. I haven't come across one of those before. So, Government Life Insurance Office, 1967, but where's it from? Oh, New Zealand. Government Life Insurance Department. Okay, I'm not really sure why they have their own stamps. I haven't come across that before. All right, well, it's something to look into. It's certainly philatelically inspired, as they say. And all the stamps are overprinted. That may have been decimalisation. Okay, that's worthy of another look. Oh, we've got a few of these here. New Zealand again. A hell of a lot of stamps on it. Souvenir cover, first issue of decimal stamps. That's interesting. It seems to have every stamp, decimal stamp in there, including $2, $1. Quite a lot of New Zealand in this so far. First day cover, 2001, 100 Years of Moving the Mail. First day of issue, 010101. Wanganui in New Zealand. So interesting date there, the first of the first of the first. These are the health stamps, and that was a long-running series. I'm sure I mentioned it in the previous videos. Health stamps send children to health camps. 1948. So I think they started before the war, and as far as I know, they were going at least till quite recently, if not still going. This is Canterbury, which is a region rather than a town. The Canterbury Centennial. I'm going to have a check. I think that was the place that was badly hit by that earthquake about 15 years ago. And that lovely cathedral there, I'm sure, was either destroyed or very badly damaged. Christmas Island, it's on the northwest direction from Australia. But this says definitive postage stamps about ships that have played a part in the history of and development of the island. Okay, let's grab another handful. This is big on New Zealand. We've got another one here. Queen Elizabeth, 1951. 1951, I would imagine that's the first issues, definitives with the Queen on it. She would have been just crowned about then, although they're not specifically coronation issues. Anyway, the same. Everything's in duplicate in this. A few bookmarks. So that's the one that our own club did up. It's a bookmark with a perforation gauge, which I thought was a brilliant idea when someone suggested it. Oh, well, this is weird, and I don't want to handle it too much, but it looks like it's got a big 5 in the corner. Treasury. Oh, this is going to need a lot more investigation. It's very badly damaged. Treasurer of the State of Texas. Oh my God. Okay. I have no idea what that is. It's not a banknote, so I'll certainly try and find out under better lighting. Maybe natural daylight it'll be a lot easier, but clearly it's badly damaged. It's quite a good perforation gauge. There's been a few of them in here. Oh God, I'll be giving them away. Another one. What's that? Stanley Gibbons, of course, the big London dealers, and it's a clear one. They're actually quite handy. Makes it easier to see, I think. And instructions for use. So, yeah. Oh, gosh. You can never have too many, but there's another one. And another one. And they seem to be largely advertising. Don't know what that CZ, so Czechoslovakian. Can't see anything written in English on it. Spinning through, Hong Kong. Oh, very nice. Some mint-mations and a little bit about the stamps. Colours, values, that sort of thing. This is... I'm afraid to pronounce that first word, but it's Swedish. I don't know how they pronounce their name. Sferiga, something like that, in their own language. But a lovely little book, and it seems to make some mention of. I see the word cancer in there, so it's possibly a fundraiser or something like that, or advertising for one. Interesting. Okay, international reply coupon, 1979. They're multilingual, of course, German, English, Arabic, an Asian language, possibly Chinese. Oh God, everything's on it. Spanish and Russian. And of course, these things typically have French on them as well. Which is sort of the language of the post office. Another softback album, thematic. So I'm not really into themes, but sometimes you can come across a stamp that you like. We've got art birds, birds again, butterflies and insects. I'm trying to get those Malay or Malaysian states, so it's handy. There's a few in there. Fish. Also we've got flowers, yeah, so it's really a bit of a hit and miss. Transport, oh yes, okay, so a few train ones, which I've mentioned before I like, and some other interesting airmail stamps. So yeah, bit of a luck of the draw here. Royalty, so predominantly Mations. What was the other one? Wildings, which preceded the Mations. Yeah, it's... like I say, you can be lucky and find something that you want. They're the Explorer series, and it's decimal. I was hoping it was pre-decimal. They're a little bit harder to find. But yeah, interesting. And a glossary of philatelic terms, which you hear a lot about. Oh, this album, this actually wasn't in the box. I bought this separately, $25, so I was quite happy with that. There are a few stamps in it, very few, but I didn't buy it for that. I bought it because it's actually quite a good album. What I was keen on, as you can see, the interleaving is clear. A lot of them have that glassine, that crinkly paper, which I don't like, especially as I'm trying to get, I purchased this specifically to put my 1935 Jubilees in it. And I wanted a decent album that you could see them through. So that's a project for the coming months. Oh, actually, there was a lot more stamps in it than I expected. Like I say, I didn't buy it for the stamps, I bought it for the album. The Maldives, I do a lot of these Disney stamps. Turning out a little bit better than I expected. I didn't really look through this far. Malta, the early 60s, I think, early 50s possibly, and some that I know were, I think they were about the 1930s. I'm just trying to find a date on them. Oh, 1923, older than I expected. There's one here, actually. It must have been used as a revenue because it's got passport on it, presumably passport office. Here's another Valletta, which is the capital of Malta, for 1925. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a bonus. I wasn't expecting that. I was just happy with the album. So modern Malta and a few of the older ones there, back to 1925, I see again, and to Queen Victoria. Okay, what do we got here? This is, or Spink is it's an auction house, isn't it? What do we got? April 2022. Quite a heavy book, actually. You know, it's sizable, and they're always very interesting. Give you an idea of what's out there. A little bit of drool factor. You look through these and you think, God, I'd love all of these. But it also gives you a fairly realistic idea of what some of these stamps are worth, because this is the prices shown there are, I suppose, the expected. They may or may not be the reserve. I'm not sure on that. All right, a handful of covers. What I'm noticing, this box, everything in it is fairly well packed. You know, a lot of them are just thrown. Sometimes you get them and everything's thrown in one place, and they can be damaged. But no, everything's in little glass sleeves, or I haven't got right to the end of it. Oh, okay. Now I am very happy to find this. It is a King Edward VIII, who was the king that only reigned for was about 9 months, but from Tangier. Overprinted for Tangier in North Africa. Issued under the authority of the Philatelic Traders Society and the British Philatelic Association. The Festival of Britain, 1952. So those stamps were already about 20 years old before they were used. Posted to Australia. It also has what is my favourite statue I've ever seen. And depending on who's telling the story, it's either Boudica or Boadicea. The one of her, we'll call her Boudica to use the British term, and her daughters on the chariot. And it's a long time since I was in London, but I believe that's on the Thames, on the embankment, just near Big Ben. So yes, I'm really happy to come across that. That's a nice mixture of exciting things to find. We got some covers. First, a cover of New Guinea. They always had very large stamps, actually. I'm starting to notice. National Stamp Week, I have a big pile of those from the previous time. What have we got? Northwest Airlines, a little sticker on it. 1955 Canada, with the Indigenous person in the canoe. Sweden. Basically the same stamps as I saw earlier. National Stamp Week. Yeah, so a lot of covers. I'm really happy about that Tangier one. All right, now we're getting into some older stuff. Czechoslovakia. As I've often said, every one of these boxes has a pile of Czech in them. I can fill a shoebox with them. Oh, Spain, a little bit of variety there. Spanish colonies. It's a Red Cross stamp. We came across them in the last one, didn't we? Yeah, telegraph stamps. What was the guy that ran in Spain? Franco, there as well. Some art ones. Yeah, interesting mix. What else is in there? Oh, okay. Got some of those lovely sailing ship ones. They're quite a large stamp. They're probably twice the typical stamp. No, I don't speak Spanish anyway, so I'm just hoping I have some name of someone, or is it the Columbus expedition? Okay, yeah, keep going through that. And as I said, they're all fairly wrapped up, these. Uruguay, Peru. Nice stamps, but they've got poor quality hinges. Please, collectors, use quality hinges. Otherwise, in 15 or 20 years' time, your stamps will look like that, and you can see the glue from the hinges coming through. I thought it was sticky tape at first, but it does seem to be a hinge, but I think they had a poor quality one, which is a pity because it's ruined a few good stamps. Yeah, okay, well, rant over, sorry. Paraguay, not something I'm interested in, but they're very modern and they look like these ones that are basically made for collectors. I'd be seriously questioning whether they were ever postally used. And one way you can tell, a couple of ways you can tell, they just don't feel right. They're often a glossy paper on both sides, and most without exception, the cancellation is oval or circular, and it's always on one corner. Yeah, so very dubious. Anyway, people like them. Thematics, there's a lot of artwork in them. Goya paintings, if you're into that. Chile, again, badly damaged by having poor quality hinges. I don't know, they're coming loose, but I wonder if they'll soak, and that stain might go out of them, but I doubt it. It's an interesting one there. I'm not quite sure what it is. It could be a tax stamp. Modernization is the only word that's recognizable. Post of Chile, Correos, I believe they say it. Don't know what that one is. Bit of a mixture there, old and modern. Else, Bolivia, same thing. I'm not really keen on South America, but yeah, I'll certainly keep some of the interesting ones there. Very old Brazil. I'll take a wild guess and say that is NASA, UAR, which is United Arab Republics, but was that Syria and Egypt, I believe, of Azerbaijan. A bit of blurb down the bottom here saying that it was unusual picture stamps from the very scarce and hard to get country, showing a Caucasian peasant, views of mountain scenery, bear in a tree, etc., etc. Was formerly part of Transcaucasian Russia, temporarily independent 1917 to 23, following the Russian Revolution, and became part of the, since 1924 has used Soviet Union stamps, which is a polite way of saying it was taken over. I certainly don't think they're hard to get, despite their claim to the contrary. they're just a little bit dubious as to whether they were actually produced for collectors or for the postal service. It's got a non-Cyrillic script, so I don't know. What do they normally use there? Comments, please, if you could. And who's this? Brunei. So I'm sure that's the Sultan. It's written in, oh no, there's English underneath. Brunei, United Kingdom Friendship and Cooperation Agreement. Can't quite make out the date. 1979, I think. Interesting stamp. Basically, four stamps made out of a photograph. Okay, this is very unusual. Coolgardie, which is in Western Australia. Cycle Express Service, Coolgardie, WA, Western Australia, 1894. But these obviously not that old. They're 1964, 70th anniversary. It's in a cover, I can't quite feel it, but it seems to be a copy of the original stamps, which were a shilling and 2 and 6. So for those prices, you get someone to jump on a bike, literally, and head off with your letter. Coolgardie is very remote, so I'm assuming that they didn't cycle out into the desert. It would have been a long, hot drive. This is even more interesting. It is, again, I'm always stuck for Japan or China. All right, so it's got that the double rectangle symbol. So this is Japan. Commemoration of the enforcement of the Constitution of Japan, 1947, by the Ministry of Communications. And there's a lot of other cursive script. Okay, that's an interesting little bit of history for both of those. Finland, they're old, but they're very badly damaged. One thing I'm just looking for is, I think some of these are when they were using Russian stamps, and how you quickly tell is to see what their currency is in. So I'm just trying to look for both of them here. Yeah, so one's PEN for penny or whatever their equivalent was. Where did I see the other one there a moment ago? Yeah, with the Cyrillic, and I don't know what the letters are, but they're the older ones when the Russians were running the place. Who we got now? Malaya, Sabah, these are the various states, aren't they? Brunei, Strait Settlements. So this is going back quite a while. That's a Queen Victoria one. A few of the Malaya ones, again, Strait Settlement, but King George VI. Don't know what this is. Says Australia Post, please find enclosed your print for purchasing our new $20 stamp. Okay. Some cycling. Russia, by the look of it, what appears to us as CCCP. I know that's not what the letters stand for. And this is a full sheet, or a half sheet of Norfolk Island. This is a really very thing. Oh, there's two of them there. The same behind, I think. Yeah, interesting. You never know what you're going to get in these things. I'm going to move that pile because the whole lot's going to topple over. Right, now, I always do like seeing, and often I'll bid on a box because it's got these very old albums in it. The older the better. The standard stamp album, it's called. Austria. Okay, a couple of pages of Austria, including those ones up there I know are very, very old, 1890s. Again, Austria. Belgium. Belgian stamps had an interesting thing. There's a little tab there. I'll get a better photo of it to show you. Oh, actually, that's not it, but it's a representation of it. that it said in the two languages they used not to deliver on a Sunday. And I think some people preferred that for religious reasons. They didn't want mail that they sent being delivered on what they considered the holy day. Got a section for new issues, and I know they're not. They're quite old. We got Greece, Hungary, Luxembourg. Again, more of those large Spanish ones with the sailing ships on them. Sweden. Yeah, very full compared to many of these where they're... but what's still in there is quite nice. Hong Kong, India, Persia, Iran, as we now call it. Back in the royal days. Obviously the Shah, wasn't he? War tax from the Gold Coast. Which is, what's the Gold Coast now? Gambia, isn't it? I'm not sure. As usual, correct me if I'm wrong. Mozambique, which is a Portuguese colony. Nyassa, which again was a Portuguese colony, although these are overprinted with the Republic, so when they got their independence. Transvaal, part of South Africa now. Well, this is done regionally, so yeah. Chile. That is, for such an old album, this is actually quite good. Cuba. They call that the baby face, that one there. Had a very young king in it. Mexico. There's certainly a lot to go through in that. Salvador. United States of America. And I think that was the, what do they call that? The Columbus issue. And that's quite a nice copy of it, actually. I'm happy to get that. Yeah, so better than average. And another one that I grabbed this, I think I was only charged $10 for this, so in a, pick them out of a box kind of thing. But quite good value for $10. It's a bit of a crowded book, but we've got some old George V Australian, some of the kangaroo and map from Australia. None particularly valuable. OS overprints, official service overprints. Australian Customs Duty in London. It's a real mix. And a very nice copy of the Kingsford Smith World Flights one. There's the three penny blue. There's a tuppenny red, but it's damaged, unfortunately. There's some more Australian. Oh, they're duty stamps. So South Australia, that's an actual postage stamp, but the one beside it, it's a duty stamp from one of the states. Some of these old state ones are in quite good order. Certainly worth the money there. It was a present to someone, a birthday present in 1921. So that's always a good sign when you see a date like that on it. Oh my God, I've still got a long way to go. And there were a few more albums down here, and I think we're getting into modern boxes then. Let's have a quick look at this one here. The Royal Wedding, not something that excites me very much, but this is the Prince of Wales and Lady Di, 1981. I remember it well. Oh, it's an empty album. There's a packet of, is this the stamps in there? All right, okay, so they seem to be all the stamps relevant to that series in there. Another old album, the Victory stamp album. Okay, it's been picked on a bit. The usuals are there. Sadly, again, The hinges have come through some of them, but not as bad as that other one I was looking at a while ago. Good bit of British Commonwealth, so I'm happy with that. Check French colonies. Quite a variety in French colonies. They're very descriptive and pictorial. Germany, all eras, wartime, pre-war, Hindenburgs. Great Britain. Okay. There's a few taken out of it, and it's not hard to guess they would have been any penny blacks or any tuppenny blues, but still there's some interesting stuff there. This is the royal visit to South Africa in 1947, or Southern Africa. They went to various countries around there, so Swaziland, Basotho land. I think they went to Southwest Africa, or Namibia as it would now be called. And there's some other victory stamps as well. A good little catch, this one. Who else have we got there? The first definitives, so the Sword of Light and the little map one, as they call it. Yeah, this is quite good. New Guinea, overprinted AMR ones, with a little biplane on them. I don't think I have many of those. The Royal Visit again. That was basically an omnibus issue. It was issued in about 6 or 7 countries, I think. It's handy to get a checklist and just see if you can get them all and keep them in one place. Sierra Leone. Not sure if that's still the name of the country, or did they change that name? But some lovely ones there of looks like mountain scenery, rural workers, and King George VI in the corner there. The robes. Yeah, as always, these old albums are great fun. A globe album. This is a fairly common one we see in these boxes. My mother had one of these. I'm still got it. I'm still minding it for her. That was her first album, and it's the one with the shoelace that you can take that out, you can put more pages in. But yeah, there we got Australia. It's a very, very rusty album, and often you can smell, they get a bit mouldy, and you can actually smell that. For the better stamps, I'll wash them very carefully and soak them off these pages, because they won't get any better in this, and the album itself is falling apart. Germany. Yeah, again, a fairly typical post-war album. Some more of that Royal Visit, actually. I am trying to get the full set of those. The Southern African one. These are South Africa, which I went through recently in my own collection. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to get everything out of because we're moving on to modern boxes by the look of it. More than I'll ever want, but let's have a look. DVD or DVD. Who has those nowadays? All the streaming services. Okay, what do we got? Sweden, Austria, Canada. They're mostly modern. Great Britain. I might have a poke through that one later. Worlds, again, they seem to be mostly modern. PNG, Papua New Guinea, and Russia, which I will go through in more detail. With a lot of these stamps here, if it's not something we want too much of, our club has a very large show over 2 days in November. We have a table that we set up to assist kids, children, and returning collectors. So we'll often give them an envelope with a big handful of stamps in it, just to sort of kickstart their collection. So, excuse me. So ones like this, the modern ones that I don't collect myself, we'll put through. Okay, very nearly there. They are not stamps, are they cigar labels? Henry Winterman's, yeah. And Ritmeester, a Dutch cigar, weren't they? Yeah, so not something I've never smoked, so I've never seen any arrangement of those or any lot of them, but yeah, an interesting little sideline. We have United Nations, again, not one I'd collect. Grenada, these will go to the kids' collection. South Africa, and very nearly there, Polynesian France, French Polynesia. What would that be? Tahiti, Nemea? I'm not sure actually. They have that French design on them, or are they French ones themselves? Okay, I think they're actually French rather than Polynesian, but I believe there's a that they use each other's stamps because, you know, if you're in some parts of French Polynesia, you're basically in France, as far as I know. Okay, so that's interesting. And New Zealand, more of, which we've already got. And Southwest Africa. Namibia, as it's now called. They all look, oh no, some very old ones, so I'll definitely go through that. And like I say, we'll give the pile there to the kids so we can try and kickstart the collection again. That's it. I'm very happy with that lot. I was happy with the last lot, but those old albums are going to have a fair bit of research done on them. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please let me know. I'd be delighted to hear from you. And we'll see you again sometime. Okay, cheers.